Hey guys, welcome back to the Hear Me Roar pod. I am Tobi and my co-host is none other than the Kate Save, which you might know her from Shark Tank. She's also founder of BeFit Foods and picked up Telstra's Business of the Year award too. Kate?
Well, Tobi, you've got a super impressive CV, 25 years in global commercialisation experience, and you founded Creative Cubes, Australia's leading co-working space and real estate business.
All right, let's get on with the pod.
We are back. And Tobi, what is lighting you up this week?
That's a great question. I think Tesla is lighting me up at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so huge Tesla bull.
Yeah.
Big investor. I have loaded so much of my superannuation into Tesla stock. But actually, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 months ago, Tesla was an all-time low at around 320 to 325.
Oh, okay.
I think it was that low, or maybe it was 320.
Yeah.
No, 220.
All right.
I gotta check my numbers. But I turned to my daughter Maddie and I was like, hey, we got to get in on this. And so she started talking, I started talking, and lo and behold, I put $9,000 in her name.
Yeah.
into
So she's
Tesla
got shares.
into Tesla stock.
Huh,
And every
super
morning we
cool.
check on each other. Well, she comes in, Dad, where we at? And this morning we're not at an all-time high at the moment, but we're flying.
Oh,
I think we bought in at 220.
yeah.
And I think it's at 350 right now.
Oh, wow.
I think
Nice.
that. Yes, 350? 360. Well, another $10. I bought her 20 shares. So we're flying. And so I'm pumped for her. She's also moving schools. So I'm really excited for her about that.
Yeah.
The school that she's currently in was amazing, but it just wasn't a fit for her.
Yeah, you've got to have the right fit for a kid at school. And especially teenage girls, there's so much going on.
Yeah. So, like just trying to be an honest dad. She actually had a couple of refusals with me saying, I'm not going to school today. I'm like, why? She's like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And so we ended up walking to the train station a couple of times, and she'd have a bit of a panic attack, not to shine light on her, but just to shine light on the situation. Actually, James helped me through it a little bit. He sent me some reading on panic attacks. And I didn't know. I was helpless. I didn't know what to do. So I leveled with her. She refused to get on the train. So I had to walk back to the house and then get her in my car and then take her to school and sort of nurture her into the school gates. And I was on the way driving from my house to school, and I'm like, babe, like even if I had $1 billion in my back pocket, all the other schools were full. You never got accepted anywhere else. We're stuck here for 6 years.
Yeah.
We have to find the jelly beans amongst the onions. Yeah. We just have to find it. Got her into school, driving home. I'm like, you know what, Tobi? You say that there is no other option, but you've actually not even asked. You've not even shared or said anything. So on the whim, I Google searched the said school that was her number one pick, where all her friends went. Yeah. And I called and I said, listen, this is my situation. I'm a father. I feel helpless. My daughter's having panic attacks. She wanted to do this. I'm stuck. And I keep telling her that she didn't get accepted. But just on the chance that someone didn't accept their placement, maybe you have 1 spot, 2 spots, or some spots. And they're like, Tobi, we are so sorry that you're going through this situation. Like it's like quite confronting for me.
Yes.
And there's absolutely nothing we can do, unfortunately. We would love to be able to help you, but we're stuck ourselves. And I was like, you know what? You guys deserve it. You're amazing. The school is what it is. And rightly so, there should be no spots, right? Lo and behold, 24 hours later, they called and said a family has just given notice. They're relocating to Singapore. And so we have 1 spot available, year 7. Yeah. And it has to be a girl.
Wow.
We thought of you. Do you want to come in for an interview? So I was like, send me your bank account.
Well done.
We are in. I then turned to my daughter and said, hey, I've got you an interview.
Yeah.
And Maddie's like, no, I'm cool. Like, I'm happy to just stay. I was like, no. Sim was like, no. We're going to go through the process. You can say no at the end, but you're not saying no at the front because you don't know what you're saying no to.
Yes.
She went to the school. She's like, Dad, I want to stay.
Wow.
So she starts 3rd term. I won't disclose the schools, but like she starts 3rd term, and just now like her eyes have gone from, I don't want to say sadness because we're not sad. We're but you know, her head's been down to like her eyes are lit up. Yeah, she's like full of optimism, excitement.
Well, our next guest, he's from the education sector and he's doing education differently. So we'll go to a break now and then we will come back.
That's a great segue. Off thanks to Rise.
Guys, I want to introduce you to Rise, a business cohort like no other. So what is the Rise Network? Rise Network is a curated inner circle of 10 to 12 like-minded peers designed to provide a confidential, high-trust environment where business owners and leaders can gain strategic insights, actionable solutions, and lasting relationships. Rise isn't just networking, it's a game-changing business support system. It has strategic problem solving built in, expert facilitation, actionable insights, long-term impact and authentic relationships, and it's based exclusively around high-trust cohorts. For your membership, you gain full access to Creative Cubes. That means you can drop in when you're on the run to use the meeting rooms, breakout spaces, or even just dock in for the day. We wanted to serve the underserved, the people that do need the help, do need the support, don't necessarily have the funds to be able to do it, and don't necessarily fit into one of these other organizations. And so that's where Rise kind of came from. So there you have it, guys. Go to werise.au, and I hope to see you at one of our cohorts soon.
So the next person that's in, his name's Omar De Silva, and I'm a bit of a fanboy. I've got to be honest.
Cool.
I follow him on the Instagram. I was lucky enough to go on his radio shows with Mullah, which was part of the SEN network.
Yeah.
And he's been a Cuber, creative Cuber, since I want to say 2017, maybe 2018.
So cool.
And he's running a phenomenal business called FourthRev. Omar, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
So for those of the listeners that don't know, tell us what FourthRev is.
Yeah. In a nutshell, we do digital skills education in partnership with universities around the world. All careers focused, all about helping people go further, faster in their careers. And everything that we do is focused on that career space in what we talk about as the data and AI economy.
Yeah.
So we're heavy on things like data analytics, data science, machine learning, all of the semi-obvious stuff you'd expect in that space.
And you're doing it differently in a sense that how do you see the place with education now and the way that schools are and the way that they run and then the future of education? Like, do you think there's a bit of a gap with how our children are being schooled and then perhaps the skills they're going to need in the future?
In short, yes. What the workforce is going to look like in 10 years' time, nobody knows, right? Let alone 5 years' time.
Yes.
And so with the work that we do, we try and respect that fact and we don't pretend that we do know. I don't think anybody does.
No.
And that's where the university quality education and academic style education is so important because it builds for you those underpinning transferable knowledge sets and capabilities that, learning how to learn, learning how to think, learning how to problem solve. Those are all still really important. But what we try to do on top of that is give you those practical skills and that hands-on experience, which is allow you to make impact in the immediate term and in the short term. So really the people that we serve in FourthRev, they're typically 27 to 35 and they're wanting to make that advancement in their career and they're looking to get that head start or that unfair advantage, if you like, by building those practical skills. But where we do differentiate against the competition is by making sure that we don't forget all of the good stuff that does come with traditional university education, and we try and wrap those things together.
So you're working now with London
School of Economics.
Yeah, and Melbourne.
Melbourne, we were, not so much anymore, but our partners include Cambridge University, London School of Economics, King's College London. Those are some of the big global brands. We have worked with Melbourne, RMIT, Swinburne, University of Canberra, University of California, one of their schools over in the US, and a bunch of others. And so the business we started out of Creative Cubes in Hawthorne in 2018 was sort of the first thoughts that went up on the whiteboards there. But when we started the business, it was always going to be about going global from the outset. We wanted to do it online. We wanted to serve the largest possible audience. And my co-founder is a British guy. He was in Australia at the time. He was always going to go back to the UK.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've looked outward pretty quickly, and we've been really lucky in securing those amazing partners that really have allowed us to cut through in the market where trying to go it ourselves just wouldn't have been feasible.
So you've had to raise capital to do this?
We have.
How was that experience?
Look, how was that experience?
It's easy when you've got a great product.
Is it easy?
It's easier. It's easier. Look, I really enjoyed it. And I have to give my co-founder a bunch of credit because one of the things that he is just phenomenally good at is phenomenally good at many things, but one of those things is building slide decks. And honestly, like building a slide deck and getting a narrative right and bringing a narrative to life through a slide deck is so important, not so much for the slides themselves, but for the
storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. The way in which it prepares you to tell your story in a compelling way, to tell the investors what they need to hear to eventually get the deal done. And so we did a pre-seed, a seed, a Series A, and a Series A extension, if you like. Depending on who you talk to, that they might have a different label for that fourth round. Each time has been a similar process where it's a game of, it's not as simple as, in my experience anyway, quantity or quality. It's about the right blend, speaking with as many of the right people as you possibly can. And I've always really enjoyed it. Investors they have a job to do. They're always polite. They're always courteous. They're always willing to tell you stuff that you maybe don't need or want to hear, but all of that is useful and valuable.
Yeah.
And of course, they have a job to do, right? So they're not trying to waste your time or anything like that. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
And who are your investors? Are they the universities themselves or are they the customer?
Good question. In some cases, the university has been our customer with one particular product set. We very much view them, and it is the reality, they are our partners more than our customers in the sense of everything that we do in lockstep with them. We are not one of those brands that is flying the flag of universities are completely irrelevant and that they need to be replaced. It's far from that, actually. We believe that universities have enormous value to provide, and that when we work together with them, we can amplify that value and we can deliver value in different ways for different audiences that would otherwise not have the chance for that value exchange to take place. So our investors at all of those stages actually have all been specialist edtech investors. Pre-seed came out of the UK, seed came out of the US, Series A came out of Europe, France.
Good coverage.
Actually. Yeah, it has been.
And so have you been in person with them, or are you literally consuming your own product online and pitching them through?
Yeah, have I met all of them face to face now? Yes, I now have met all of them face to face, but we didn't meet any of them face to face before any of those deals were done. Wow. It was all online.
Yeah, wow.
A bunch of it was through the pandemic. Again, out of Creative Cubes, straight out of Creative Cubes, speaking with the folks in San Fran.
Straight out of
those walls, what they could tell.
Correct. And yeah, the investor game, it is about relationships.
Yep.
But not obviously, just because you have a strong relationship, it won't compensate for underperformance. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's we had to keep executing, of course.
Yep.
But it's been great since then being able to get face to face, and I'm actually very fortunate. In a couple of weeks I'll be in Paris in summertime to participate in a Founders Day with one of the investors.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the memo about that one.
I haven't been to Paris in summer, so that'll be good. That'll be good.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm not coming with you. I thought
And so you've got that ability then at these schools to run some face-to-face meetups and things as well. So it's not just online. So there's an ability for students in different areas to connect.
Yeah, there is. That wasn't originally part of the design.
Yeah.
But again, what we're trying to do is, maybe not again, I don't think I've said it this way, but what we work hard on is bringing together the best of both worlds, so to speak. So there is a big, slightly less big now, over the last few years it's been tough, but there is a big sort of boot camp market, as it's called, and boot camp in terms of these intensive skill-based non-university education programs. There's a big market there. And again, they do a bunch of great work. Hardcore tech skills, getting yourself job ready. Many of them about go from zero to your first job in tech. Lots of good. Then obviously there are the university programs that we all know, multi-year, come with qualification, certification, heaps of focus on the academic, heaps of focus on the theory, increasing focus on the practical, but perhaps not as, well, actually, definitely not as much as what the boot camps.
Right.
And so what we said is like, how do we bring together the best of both of those things? Nobody is going to look at a certification or a qualification from Cambridge and say, oh, that's not worth anything. People value that. So what we've said is, okay, how can we use that and all of the good stuff that comes with something like that, the world-leading thinking, world-leading academics, insights from research and experiences and case studies that you're not going to get anywhere else, and augment that with all of that other hardcore industry-focused stuff. And therefore, one of those things is bringing people together in these phenomenal places with incredible history. You know, our partners in Cambridge, I was there for the first time in Feb, and you go to this building and it was 600 years old, the building that we're sitting in.
Wow.
You know, so like the history, right, where these people get to go and be
Talk
together.
about if the walls could talk, Kate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do now have the chance for the learners and the students to get together, to network. We've got phenomenal people. You know, we've got VPs of global banks and major tech companies. We've got literal rocket scientists coming together and meeting each other and sort of advancing their careers. And I sort of often reflect on just how nice it is to play a tiny part in helping people be successful in their lives, in the work they do. And both of you will experience that as well in your own ways. And it's like, it's selfless, but it's also selfish in that sense of you get a massive kick. And with your business, Kate, you know, you're fueling people to be their best, which then helps them live their best lives. And like, what a great thing. And Tobes, with the Cubes network, you help get people to live their best professional lives and in turn create their success. And like when you get to play a part as an enabler of people being successful.
This is a huge reflection point for me, just sitting here on this pod with you. Because I remember when we first met in the Hustle boardroom in Richmond.
That's it.
And you were doing other things at the time. And then you reached out to me and said, hey, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And now look at you.
Yeah, like 7 years later.
Yeah, let's say 2008.
Yeah.
18, 18, yeah, phenomenal. I got caught up for a second because you didn't invite me to Paris, but I know you're a bit of a fashion guy as well. So you taking an empty suitcase, no suitcase?
I would not call myself a bit of a fashion guy, but it must be said, last time there's a particular department store in Paris that fashion people will know. And so there'll be a bit of space for a visit there.
Okay, yeah. Just, are you staying at the hotel adjacent to?
No, not quite. I've stayed a long way away to sort of minimize the chances.
Okay.
Do you know one of our guests we had on the show, we've got to get Harry back onto this. He started a luggage company.
Right.
And I said my biggest issue with traveling is every time I go somewhere, I realize I can't fit it all back in. Even when I expand, I have to buy another bag. And I was like, why don't you create a bag within a bag so then I can just pull the bag out? Then I have two.
That would be
because
sensible.
They never fit properly. So if he has that prototype
That's
ready, you should take one.
I can test it.
I'm gonna get Ethan from July Suitcases on.
Ooh.
He's a mate of mine.
Yeah.
And we'll ask him to make the Kate bag.
I would love that because you know what? My suitcase the other day, it's totally irrelevant, but missed the getting tagged part, went through the airport, had a crazy person who was chasing after the bag trying to tag it, couldn't find it. And I'm like, it's a brand new July suitcase, the new model with the battery pack, got my name on it. It's pink. And anyway,
Did you get the blush pink one?
It's like I don't know.
It's like a soft baby pink.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, my little Harper's got one of those.
The sad part about it all, the bag did turn up in Brisbane at the other end. Battery pack gone because it wasn't meant to go on.
Oh, yeah, because it's a carry-on.
They obviously found it and tagged it. Sadly, though, it literally looks like it was dragged behind the plane the whole way from Melbourne to Brisbane. So I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, that sucks.
We'll get you hooked up.
And I've complained on both sides. And the airport's like, oh, airport security doesn't have the inner bit and we didn't destroy it. And then the airline themselves is like, oh, that's general wear and tear. And I'm like, not unless it went under a semi-trailer and got dragged behind the plane.
wow.
General
So
wear and tear, that old chestnut.
Don't take good travel
No, that's right.
luggage with
But
you.
July is beautiful stuff.
And so I wake up most mornings to an Insta story from you working out. How has that kept you even keel through all the challenges that you've faced as a business?
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable for me. Gosh, it's a long time ago now, but when my mental health was not good, I had mental ill health and many mental health challenges. And so through that process, and it's very well understood, and I suppose in some respects it always has been just how critical that exercise is, but particularly in the front half of the day, if I don't do it for multiple days in a row, my mood changes.
Totally.
My thinking
You're the
is
same, aren't you?
Yeah. So
think
I wake
humans
up.
are the same.
I wake up Mondays. Kate gives me the whole Reformer Insta story.
Yeah.
Then it flicks to the next one. It's Omar in the garage.
the garage gym. That's
in the
it.
garage gym,
That's it.
taking a
Yeah.
photo in
Yeah.
front of his. Is it called a Smith machine or like a dead weight?
It's like a cage thing.
Cage thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel obligated to post my own off the back of that. Mate, you've helped bring awareness to mental health.
Maybe a tiny bit.
Yeah. I think you've had impact. Well, in the communities that we operate in,
Yeah.
we've definitely had awareness. You've definitely done some stuff with Theo. Theo, I'm seeing Theo tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
He's about to start a new venture and wants some advice. I'm not sure I'm going to give him some good advice, but I'll give him some advice nonetheless. And for men,
Yeah.
was an organization that you were sort of helping bring awareness to some of the challenges there?
Yeah. I started that charity, crikey, I couldn't tell you exactly when that was, but it'd be 10 years ago-ish, where I felt, I don't want to say I felt obligated because that places too much belief in myself that I could do anything, but I wanted to, right?
You're an entrepreneur. You can do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have that entrepreneurial spirit. You want to do things. And back then, after I'd gone through my own challenges and seen some people I really care about go through some challenges, and I started looking around about help, everything that I was finding was very much, if you are sick or if you need help, you can go to these places.
Right.
And so what For Men was about is how do we change that conversation, say, no, stop sacrificing your mental health and well-being on the pursuit of whatever and actually protect it and use it as a way to get there. And that's everything that was For Men about. It was all about self-leadership, the proactive development of mental health and well-being. We put that on ice a few years ago when it got to a place where I'm not sure that we were necessarily adding more value, and I definitely didn't want to be detracting from the good work that lots of other people were doing by creating unnecessary noise. And, there's only so much attention that everybody has in a day. So we put that on ice. Having said that, sometimes the world works in funny ways. Over the last month, I've honestly had, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 13 or 14 men reach out and say, hey, I've been falling into bad habits, not in these words, but I've been falling into bad habits. I've sort of become more isolated. Can we catch up?
Wow.
And not because I'm special or anything like that, but just because we're mates. And so it's sort of given me this impetus to say, hang on a sec, maybe because the last few years have been so difficult that maybe there is a bit of a place for it again.
Yes.
So we're actually in the process of, again, we had DGR status for the charity, and so that got put on ice. But we're in the process of sparking that up again as it so happens. And yeah.
So in my head, I'm picturing the old fax machine that Michael Jordan it comes out and says, I'm back.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
As a female looking at men's mental health, I must say I have so many conversations with my girlfriends about our husbands and other men, and why aren't they sitting there doing this? And so my girlfriend, I was away at the Exercise and Sports Science Conference over the weekend. We were talking about exactly what you said, like the power of exercise as medicine for mental health.
Yeah.
And my best girlfriend, who lives near the airport, jumped on a plane, flew over, and we spent some time together in Tassie, because why not? But we talk everything, and I'm like, oh, it's like the best counselling session ever. And I must say, I don't see a lot of the men in my life debriefing like at the level we debrief. And I'm like, where do men go to do that?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. There is a, and this isn't what you've said, to be clear, there is a misconception that men don't like talking. And over the years, as I was very willing and happy to talk about the challenges I went through, I'd do the corporate speaking gigs and all that type of stuff. And inevitably, you'll get to the end of the conversation and it'll be question time and you get nothing, right? There's crickets except from typically the women. Then you say, cool, thanks for having me. And then you start to walk out. And then you get the line of guys who then have the questions that they do want to ask you, but they wait for someone else to start it. So men want to chat. We're just typically not great at starting the conversations. And so, yeah, there is so much awareness of it now, but building the muscle around the things that really do matter, particularly when times get challenging, not because you're facing mental ill health yet, but just life is tough, right?
It's tough.
I've got 3 kids and I know the juggle well.
Yeah.
It's even more important to find that time for yourself. But I think a lot of guys still feel that difficulty in saying, I'm going to do this thing for me at the expense for someone else. And whether that's real or perceived, I think it does get in the way of a lot of guys, at least in my experience. So yeah, we used to run these events and say, no obligations, but come to the pub, have a drink, have a chat. Yeah. And we get just as many women as we get men, because it was all about men's mental health, but also for the people that care about those men. And then you'd start a conversation on something, and then sure enough, it'd build and it'd snowball, and everybody would go away feeling really good about it. So, yeah, hopefully we can bring it back and do some good stuff with it if there's a need for it. If there's a need.
Would that room be different though if there was just men in the room? Like you said, the women ask the questions and the men come up later. If there was no women in the room, would the men talk in that open space?
Yes.
Yeah.
And same but different, and sometimes different.
Yeah.
What we found with the significant others typically that were there, they were obviously all there for the same reason, right? In understanding. And so it was by no means, it was only a healthy, good situation. And the men in those spaces, again, you'd have the leaders that would start the conversations and then everybody else would follow. And it was great. It was really good, actually. You could see the women sort of asking questions because they were wanting to better understand. But I think the point that you're making, Kate, is a real one, and that is there is a different dynamic in a room when a bunch of guys can be there and talk about the things which they're not yet comfortable or confident enough or equipped with the skills to have about certain topics in front of their typically significant others.
So we're going to drop to a break, but before we do that, tap me for whatever you need.
I shall.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've got venues here. We've got spaces and places. We've got the ability to broadcast messages on our screens and really bring an audience that may be really in need. So let me know how I can add value. But moreover, and I think we're going to talk about this in our last segment, you speak with such passion. And it's not by chance that you are where you are. And I hope that you recognize that, because I recognize that in you and how far you've come in a very short time. I think if you take 3 years of lockdowns out of the equation, which probably being an online business is not as catastrophic for you as those that were not. But if you take those out, it's sort of like 4 years of really sharpening your axe and sort of plowing through. And man, it's so good to see you doing what you're doing. And just as you're speaking with Kate there, and I was just watching you just ooze passion, and it's sort of like it just comes out of you naturally. The world is a better place with you in it. And I'm glad that you're on top of everything and surfing that wave, because it's from my lens, it looks awesome.
Thank you, man.
So
appreciate that.
Guys, we're going to cut to a quick break from Luna, and Kate and I'll be back after that.
weareluna.co is a great place for you and your business to start off with phenomenal accounting and legal services. So if you're a startup or a scale-up looking for legal and finance support, or alternatively looking to raise capital, weareluna.co is where you need to be starting off.
So Tobi, great guest, and I love how that vulnerable sharing on the pod is just so invaluable.
He's a star, and I'm so proud of him. I have nothing to do with his success, but I'm just so proud of him and how he's just applied himself. It's great to see him thriving. As he was talking, a bit of a throwback. This was supposed to be Hear Me Roar with Kate, Omar, and Tobi. So I'm finally glad that Omar showed up. Omar gave us a stat, Kate, in the pre-organizing of this Hear Me Roar podcast, that I think 90% of podcasters don't go beyond 10 episodes.
Oh.
I think that this is episode 20 or 21.
Very
Yesterday,
cool.
we loaded episode 16 with Vince LeBon, and we call him the shoe dog, the real shoe dog. But yeah, so he is fantastic. He lives near you. You guys should catch up and network and do some great things, because Omar is super connected, always looking out for everyone else. And it has, for me, it's just been nothing but a constant in terms of impressive since I've known him.
And I love that, thinking about education differently too, because we need to open that space and be thinking about the future, and not just upskilling the kids of today, but like that age group that he's talking about, the 25 plus, that maybe didn't get that information they needed at school and now want to be in tech. So I think that's really cool. And the men's mental health stuff, post-COVID, with not just in Australia but globally, like what was going on with men's mental health, recent suicides, all those sorts of things.
So I'm actually quite angry about it, to be honest. You know, some people during the darkest times here in Victoria took their lives because they weren't able to cope. They weren't able to cope with the lockdowns and their inability to provide for their families. And now, sort of like on the other side of it, I'm even more angry that it actually came out that it was sort of like, I don't want to say
unnecessary.
I think that's the right word. I was going to say it wasn't that it was fake or not real, but like complete overkill, no pun intended. And if only there was some sort of level-headed people at the Victorian government, very specifically, and I'm targeting Dan specifically, who really drove a massive wedge through this state and really hurt the people of Victoria. To hear what Omar's doing and has done, and his interest and his passion, like, we need more of that and less of the other.
Absolutely. And it wasn't necessarily just about the financial stuff during COVID. It was what was happening to people being able to connect. And as humans, we need to connect to survive. Right? Yeah.
I was also thinking as well, like the when I think about like education, what I learned at school almost has zero relevance today, except for, you know, etiquette and communication and mathematics with a dollar sign from a P&L perspective. But really, like, when you think about tech and AI and, you know, what's happening with robotics and self-driving cars and ChatGPT or Grok or all of these learning modules, right? Man, the education system has to really evolve to be able to gear the students of today into the future of tomorrow, right?
Well, perhaps what it is lacking now, my kids have told me they don't do home ec and they don't do a lot of those core subjects that used to be, like, we learnt how to, I don't know, bake damper or do whatever you do in a home ec course. But more and more people are not cooking, and now we've got a whole generation of people that nobody's taught them how to cook. So when they're out there on their own, I just think food supply, health, all those sorts of things, there needs to be so much more priority in that area. And, you know, we're doing things differently, but we need bigger thinking, I guess, to do them better. Yeah,
I can just imagine the value that FourthRev bring to the traditional institutions.
Yeah.
You know, off camera, we're talking about, like, I think Omar said, you know, making sure universities are relevant and you know, they're friends of the university and they work hand in hand with the universities. But I can imagine, you know, some of them have been rattled with the old world coming into the new world, and, you know, software and tech is really eating a lot of jobs today, not in a negative way, but just like the application of someone that understood an engine in the traditional combustion car is like very different to someone that's, you know, a tech person powering these
Teslas.
Teslas, yes, but like, EVs, right?
Yes.
Very different skill set, even though the thing just rolls when you put your foot on the pedal, right? So I can imagine these universities really need to, and schools have really needed to evolve. They've probably been shook because they're institutions over decades, right? So anyway, that was amazing. Omar De Silva. All of the show notes contain how to get in touch with Omar, how to learn more about FourthRev. There might be an Instagram story there or two just in case. Kate, thank you.
Thank you for bringing in Omar.
All right.